All right, hello everyone. I've made a video like this not too long ago, but I decided I'm going to do it again. Hopefully it'll be a little better this time. A really good way to get into the Wyvern card game. It's a Dead CCG collectible card game from the 1990s, and a really good way to get into this game without going broke is this right here, a limited starter box. You can buy a limited starter box on eBay for under $100. That includes shipping. Some of them charge more than $100. Get one that's under $100. You're getting 12 decks for less than $100. You end up paying anywhere from $7 to $8 for a deck. Back in the 1990s, this sold for $7.95. You can actually get them cheaper than that now on eBay. But they have to be the limited edition. That's what this one is. It says right on it, limited edition, says it right there, limited edition. Kingdom, charge you through the nose. Premier, you're going to pay 15 to 20 bucks a deck. Only because it's Premier. There's nothing better about it. It's only for collectors who are willing to pay that because the Premier was the first set. Limited came out afterwards. It was basically the same set. I guess there were extra cards. I don't even know. It was a big mistake that they made, which probably is one of the reasons they died as quick as they did. People were very frustrated trying to collect three different sets, Premier, Limited, and Kingdom, before finally an expansion came out called the Phoenix expansion, which is great, followed by the Chameleon expansion, which is great, but at that point the game had already died, like most card games of the 90s. However, buy yourself a limited starter box, 12 decks, okay? What we're going to do now is I've opened up 3 of them. Now, these have already been messed with a little bit, so they're not fully intact. I don't think there's any rares in these decks, but I'm just going to show you. This is probably I've already slightly adjusted it. Actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down. We're going to turn. Let me think about how I want to do this. We're going to turn these 3 decks into one really good deck, and if you have 4 people, you can break your 12 starter decks into 4 people can each take 3 of them and make a really good deck from that. You could do it with 2. You could just take 2 starter decks and make a pretty good deck. Take 3 starter decks, you're going to make a really good deck. Now, you can set up the rules any way you want. The starter deck rules, the minimum deck, you have 2 decks. You have your Dragon Lair, and your Treasure Hoard. Okay? The backs are the same, so you will get things mixed up. Dragons are red, terrains are green, and in the Treasure Hoard, everything is purple or gold. Gold are the treasures. Everything's purple or gold. That's it. You're limited to 4 copies per card. Dragons are unique, 1 copy. So of these 3 decks, I can only play 1 Amphitheater. I can only play 1 Keolan. The deck size, and you can make your own rules. Minimum is 15 for your Dragon Lair, 35 for your Treasure Hoard. In the constructed game, it's 20 and 50. For the purposes of taking 3 starter decks, I would go with 20 and 50. That's the minimum. You can go with 15 and 35, 20 and 40, 15 and 40. Your choice. You guys decide how you want to do it. But when you do this, if you have your own little tournament, everything you don't use is your sideboard, meaning you can bring it in later. So cards that only are good in certain circumstances, you're not going to put in your main deck. You're going to bring them in if there's a reason to bring it in. Let me show you an example. Thor kills any subterranean dragon. That's not a very good card. This is probably the worst Dragon Slayer in the game because there are very few subterranean dragons in the game. And if you put this in your starter deck and your opponent you play has 0 or 1 subterranean dragons in the deck, it's probably just going to sit in your hand and do nothing. So I wouldn't play, I might play 1 on the off chance that, yeah, there's a decent chance that my opponent's going to play 1 or 2 or 3 subterranean dragons. It's possible, but I wouldn't start with it. I really wouldn't. If you have 2 or 3 of these in your sideboard, you can bring in 1 or 2 depending on how many subterranean dragons your opponent played. So if you're playing best of 3 and in game 1, you see your opponent has at least 2 subterranean dragons, I'd bring in at least 1 Thor. Because there's a good chance you'll be able to slay that dragon. Because he can slay any subterranean dragon, but there aren't many. Sigurd is good in any deck. The odds that every starter deck's going to have some dragons of 2 or less strength. It's very, very unlikely that your opponent won't have some 0 strength dragons because you have to play scouts. If you don't play scouts, so this is an easy way to slay those scouts for free. Well, cost is a card. Cadmus is very good because the odds are pretty good that you'll see some flying dragons. It's very unlikely that they won't play flying dragons. It's very possible they won't play any subterranean dragons. St. George is a good dragon slayer because the odds are your opponent's going to play treasures. But if I don't see any treasures in the first game, and if I'm running 2 of these, I'm definitely going to take out 1. I might take out both, but it's probable that my opponent just didn't get any treasures in game 1. This is an absolute in the game, 3 or less. This is one of the best cards in your starter deck because most dragons in this game are 3 or less. The 4 strength and the 5 strength dragons, there's no way to slay them unless they're flying, and in which case Cadmus is amazing, or you happen to open the rare Dragon Slayer Jason, which for 3 gold will slay any dragon. So if your opponent probably does not have the ability to do that. So if you have a 4 strength dragon that is not a flyer or not a subterranean dragon, your opponent can't slay it. You need to know that. So a 4 strength, non-flying, non-subterranean dragon, there is no way to slay it unless they can weaken it. And that's why these cards that weaken dragons make a difference, because all of a sudden you can slay them. Okay, so another card, Subterranean Tunnels. Unless you're playing at least, I would say, 3 subterranean dragons in your deck, don't play this card. There's no reason to play this card. But if you've got 3 or 4 subterranean dragons, then absolutely play 1 copy, maybe 2, maybe, I'm not really sure. You would never play this card unless your opponent plays Killer Terrains. You just would never play this card. So don't put it in your starter deck. These are just simple rules that you'll learn as you play the game. You'll figure this stuff out. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build one deck from these 3 decks that consists of at least 20 cards in the Dragon Lair and at least 50 cards in the Treasure Hoard. Now, I've broken everything down by the dragon, by the strength, and also there's your top guy tops out at a 5. There are no 6s unless you open a rare. 6 and 7 strength dragons are rare in this game. You probably won't have one in your starter deck. You might have Celestial. You'll almost certainly have Wyvern. You might have Leviathan. You're going to have a decent amount of terrains. There's not many in this one. There should be more. I've probably took some out of here for who knows what. Not really sure. But you want a decent amount of terrains in these decks because you don't want you want to make your opponent not really know what they're attacking. A lot of this game is keeping things hidden, keeping your opponent off balance, not letting them know things like that. All right, I'm gonna break these down and show you what I've done. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone through these decks and just pulled out cards that I am considering. This is a dragon that I could play. Fafnir is a dragon I could play, and he's not in the deck right now. Pakwajak is a dragon that I could play. I could bring them back in. I'm not really sure. The Cauldron is a treasure that I could consider playing. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. This card, I don't understand why it costs 2 gold. I would make it 1 or free. I'm just mentioning that. Magical Healing, I might leave 1 in the starter in my main deck. But I'll definitely bring them in if I feel the need to. If you're hitting terrains and your dragons are getting weak, or they're playing things that are weakening your dragons, like Seaweed and things like that. Seaweed is I think not a well-designed card, but it does weaken your dragon. I think Seaweed goes away though. So if Seaweed didn't go away, I would definitely bring it in. I could add this Scout. I'm not including it initially, even though a Scout is a Scout. All Scouts are good in the game. The only thing this Scout does is he attacks as a 1-strength dragon from face down. Other than that, he's just a normal Scout with no abilities. You really don't want weak dragons in your deck unless you have ways to make them pretty... unless you can fight with them, certainly not Colchis. He can't fly. At least these two can fly. And flying helps because you have more versatility with a flyer. Now this one's going to cost you 2, but he's got that ability. When he loses a battle, you draw a card. That's a good thing. So of these 2 dragons, even though he costs 2, he's the better one to play. A 1-strength flyer is just a very weak dragon. And unless you have ways of winning battles with him, you don't want to play him. He only costs you 1 gold, but he's not a good dragon. These are bad dragons. This is not a very good dragon because he doesn't fly and has no ability. He's only 2 gold for a 2-strength dragon. He's perfectly playable in your deck. If you opened 1 starter deck, he might make my deck. He might get played. Basic terrains like this are fine. You don't necessarily need them. Things like Cave are okay. They're all right. You can play them. Underwater Cave is okay. Snowdrift can be an excellent card. As a matter of fact, let's consider Snowdrift. Snowdrift might be something we want. But anyway, these are the dragons that I'm starting with for the moment. So I've got 4 Scouts, which that's all I need. Keolung is good. Amphitheater is really good because he flies. Mo-O doesn't fly, but he might get you some gold when you hit terrains, but you got to hit 2 terrains to make it that he gains you gold, because the first terrain, you're just getting back that gold piece that you paid. So he's decent. He's certainly better than this guy, but he costs 1 gold. This guy's free. He doesn't fly, so not great. So the best one is him. The second best one, I think, would be Keolung, but it's hard to say. But they're fine. All 4 of them are fine. Lindworm is weak, but the fact that he can lose a battle without dying makes him worthwhile. You don't care that your opponent hit it. He attacks. Oh, you flip it over. It's Lindworm. Well, he can't die. He can lose the battle. You can just let him lose, and then you can swap him out. It just buys you time. Dragonelle is a very good dragon. If every time he wins a battle, you get a card. That's a really good dragon. He's only a 2, so he's not strong. Seacrops flies. Again, only costs 2. Now see, Dragonelle costs 3. So you're getting a non-flyer for 3. I'm getting a flyer for 2. The ability won't come up. There's no Ravens in these decks. That Ravens is a rare card. The odds are no one's got Ravens anyway. But if your opponent did have a Ravens in their hand, they can't play it. So Seacrops is actually better than Ozzy Dahaka, because Ozzy Dahaka is a 2-strength flyer for 2, which, by the way, is a very efficient cost. That's why they're probably going to make the deck. They are small dragons, so maybe not. Garguli, at least that's how I pronounce it, is very good because you can bump him up to a 4 every battle. It costs you a gold, and it is a form of help, but you're not bringing in another dragon. He brings in his own little gargoyles to help him. Kokukan is really good, partly because he's a super flyer, but he's 3 strength. Gani is really good because he protects your treasures. Tiamat is really good because he flies. A 3 strength dragon that flies for 3 gold is very, very efficient and even somewhat better than Ozzy Dahaka and Sea Crops. Ryu costs 4, but that ability, once he's up, every time you play a treasure in the row, he gets stronger. And it's permanent. So that can be good. Kakutan can be very good. On defense, he's excellent. He's a 4 for 3 gold. So on defense, you play him. Now, he attacks at 2 strength from face down, but other than that, he's a 3 all the time. And he only costs you 3 gold. So Kakutan is a perfectly good dragon to play. Vitra is a really good dragon to play. Wyvern is an excellent dragon to play. You always play Wyvern in your starter deck. Even though we're doing 3 starter decks, there's no way I'm taking that out. The big dragons are the rulers. So Cedo is in. These are the hardest dragons to kill. And I've got 4 big dragons. Scylla is better on defense, is a 5, just like Kakutan. Except his ability, his other altered attacking is at face up. So he's only a 3. That still isn't bad. And then, of course, Celestial's just amazing. Just a great dragon in the basic game. Can't be slain. You're going to have to get him down to a 3 before Lancelot can slay him. Well, Cadmus can slay him. So you do have that. So those are my initial dragons that I'm looking at. And this is a lot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I have a lot of cuts to make. With the terrains, we've got I've got some killer terrains here. I'm gonna try them. I'm gonna play them and see how they play. Because in my rules, when the dragon hits the killer terrain, if it doesn't apply in the regular game, that terrain is destroyed. If you're gonna play the regular rules, I wouldn't play killer terrains. Because if the dragon that hits it, if the terrain doesn't apply, the terrain is destroyed. In my rule, it's just swapped out and nothing happens. So I'll play it because I might kill their dragons with my terrains, which is nasty. Whereas Snowdrift, they got to pay to attack now. It doesn't do anything to the dragon unless they attack. It does absolutely nothing, but it is a very good terrain because now they got to pay a gold every time they want to attack. Frozen Lake destroys all the big dragons, so he's going to be in. So if a 3-strength dragon hits it, it's in my game, it's swapped out. In the original game, it's destroyed. I wouldn't play it. Or I'd put it in the back row, and if I see him attacking with a big dragon, maybe I'll move it up, but then he sees me moving it up, he's going to go, why do you want me to attack that card? So, there's little things like that. Cliff is excellent. -2 is really, really weakens a dragon big time. Now, you only get 1 gold when they hit it. When their dragon hits, they lose -2 strength permanently. It attaches to the dragon. You get 1 gold. So I've got 2 cliffs. And then we've got Moat, which, again, does not affect flying dragons. I don't care about that in my rule. In the regular game, I don't know if I'm playing this, because if a flying dragon hits it, it's destroyed. And I don't like that. If it only affected flying dragons, I'd play it because I'd just keep it in my back row so that only a flyer could hit it. But with my rule, I get 2 gold. They lose -2 strength. And if a flying dragon hits it, it's just swapped out. And then we have basic terrains, which are perfectly fine to play. The dragon suffers -1. You get 2 gold. Getting 2 gold is how you get your gold back. This is one of the best ways to get gold in the game is these terrains. The problem is it's hard to get players to attack face down cards without a scout. It's a risk, but sometimes they will. And sometimes they're going to hit your terrain and you're going to get 2 gold and their dragon's going to get weak. So these are all interchangeable. River, desert, ocean, river, it doesn't matter. So I might put 1 or 2 of them in the deck. I'm not really sure. Then we have all the actions and battle actions and all the cards. Well, actually, before we go over that, let me show you the treasures I'm looking at. So sword is good. It's expensive. But, all your dragons attack in that row at +1 strength. So it's good. I just wish it only cost 1 gold. So I don't know if I'm going to put this in the deck, but I might. Gold is nice. Every time you win a battle, you get a gold piece. That's a decent way of managing your gold. It helps. Making your dragons in the row immune to Dragon Slayers. I would probably always put one Maiden in Distress in my deck, maybe two, because keeping your dragons protected from Dragon Slayers is big. Now, I've got 4 Fountains of Youth here. I'm probably not going to run 4 Fountains of Youth, but in these 3 decks, there were 4 of them. But Fountain of Youth is a great card in the game. It is great. It won't stop Dragon Slayers, but just being able to save your dragon is huge. I'm going to probably run 2 or 3. I'm not really sure, but I can bring in more if I felt that I needed to. Pearl is a great treasure. Every time you win a battle, you get to draw a card. It's an excellent treasure. This is a powerful, powerful card. This is worth 2 gold. Where I think Sword is not worth 2 gold, this is. Now you can fight with 2 dragons. You're risking losing both of your dragons in the battle, but it's very hard to beat 2 dragons in the basic game. It's just not easy. And Secret Treasure, while you can easily run out of gold, this can also win you the game. Being able to draw cards, and you get to choose when to pay the gold piece to draw the card. So you shouldn't run out of gold. You have to just be careful how you manage your gold. So those are all cards that I'm considering for the deck. And I'll show you the final iteration. But let's go over these. Marduk is phenomenal. If you have a 3-strength dragon in play and your opponent has a 3-strength dragon in play, or a 2, or a 1, or a 0, doesn't matter. As long as your dragon is equal to or greater, you play Marduk. Now no one can play battle actions. You attack. The battle ends. No one can play battle actions. You win. Marduk is a great card. It's just very, very powerful. It costs you a gold. Knowledge is just an okay card. It's worth it sometimes to know what your opponent has, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a good card. I'd call it a weak card, but it might be worth playing, or it might be something that I bring in. But it really, after you've played a game, you probably don't need it for game 2. But still, knowing their hand at a critical point in the game can be important. Crystal Ball is also not a really good card, yet it is effective enough that it's worth running one of these, possibly even 2. The fact that you can look at your opponent's top 5 cards is good too. Village, if you think you're going to be hitting terrains, or if they are playing cards that attach to your dragon and you'd like to remove them, or they're attaching cards to their dragon and you'd like to remove that card. Village, maybe 1 in the main, and maybe you bring in 1, or maybe you don't run any and you only bring them in the sideboard. Those are ways of doing things. Tsunami is a really good card. I would definitely play 1. If you're going to turn up the dragon anyway, this allows you, now you're playing a card to do it, you're going to draw a card. I would try to turn up 2 dragons. I'm revealing cards to my opponent, which helps them. I'm showing them 2 dragons, but I just drew 2 cards. And that can be a very effective strategy in the basic game. It can be used in Constructed, obviously, too. This is another interesting card that can be good. You can play this on your dragon to make it flying, or you can play this on your opponent's dragon to make it flying, and then slay the dragon with Cadmus. Now you're using 2 cards to slay the dragon, but if the dragon is a 4 or 5 strength dragon, I'm going to play 2 cards to kill that dragon. So I've got more Marduk in here as possibles, another Crystal Ball. Treasure Thief might be a necessary one of, maybe 2 if you have them in the deck. Being able to destroy all their treasures can be a good thing. It destroys all your treasures too, so careful. Here's one of those cards you can play. If you wanted to play Thor, you can turn their dragon into a subterranean dragon and slay it. But you can put this on your dragon. I put this on Celestial in a game that I won in the best game that I had played in a tournament. I put this on Celestial, making him a flying subterranean dragon who could attack any card. I sat in the back row, and he couldn't hide in his back row because I could hit his back row because of the subterranean river. It was amazing how that worked. It allowed you to attack any card. I didn't have to move up to the front row. He put a card in the back that he didn't want me to get, and I was going to move up, and I drew this card. And when I played that, he's like, damn. Because this is normally, you would not think that this is a very good card. In general, it's not. But it can be an effective tool. Volcanic Eruption is kind of a must. This is a 1 gold cost one. It's supposed to cost 2. I don't know what the official rules are, but if you're playing, you can say, hey, if you've got a 1 gold Volcanic Eruption, you can play it. That's up to you. Your call. Another Tsunami. Meteor Shower is one of the best cards in the game. Play them. You don't have to play 4. I would play 2 in my starter deck if I have 2. Hailstorm is more of a sideboard card if your opponents are playing more Flying Dragons and you're not. But in a niche, 1 card in your starter deck is not bad to have in your main deck. It might work out. It might not. Golden Apple is one of the best cards in the game. Being able to, just like Fountain of Youth, being able to keep your dragons alive makes it hard for them to win the game. Being able to cancel the battle. Night is great. Keeps your dragons alive. But you're canceling the battle. Sometimes it's better than Golden Apple because Golden Apple, they won the battle. And they might have an effect that gives them something. But Night is an excellent card. You play it. It keeps your dragons alive. Sacrifice can be a really good tool. Getting them to pay you 2 gold, especially if you can save them with Golden Apple. Now your dragon didn't die and they just paid you 2 gold. So Sacrifice is a very good card. Possession Spell is a really good card, but it doesn't always work. There's got to be another face-up dragon to make it work. I would definitely run 1. Maybe 2, but careful. I don't know if I'd go for 2. So Golden Apples are musts. Night is must. Help is amazing. Like the Magic Potion Treasure, Help does the same thing, but now you're risking 2 dragons. You could lose 2 dragons when you play Help, so careful with that. So we have more Knights, more Golden Apples, and then Strength modifiers. You have got to have a lot of Strength modifiers in your deck. Now the Dwarven armies are free. The Fire Breathing are free, but they're just +1. This is the best one. This is the most efficient strength modifier in the game. +2 for 1 gold. So that's a really good rate. I might run 4. Firebolt is really good. You get +3. It's 2 gold. That's a lot, but +3 is huge. You can win with those little dragons. You've got to pay, but you can win. Fireball is really powerful, but it's really expensive. So +4 for 3 gold. How many of these should I play? Well, here's 4. That's 12 gold. You only have 25 to start with. I wouldn't play more than 2 in my starter deck. 2 that's a lot of gold to pay. But 2 means there's a good chance you're going to get one of them in play and it's going to win you a battle. And that can be a big deal. I don't think I'd go more than 2. And then Dragon Slayers are absolutely necessary. They are the power of this game. Being able to take out scouts so they can't destroy your terrains is huge. So you want to play 1 or 2 Beowulfs. You definitely want to play at least 1 Sigurd, maybe 2 Sigurds. Maybe. I've got 4 here. I don't know. I'll probably run 2 if I'm going to guess. And Lancelot, absolutely. I'd run 4 of these if I had them. I've got 2 right here. I will run 1 Cadmus. I don't think I'm going to run 2 because most of the dragons in this game are non-flyers. So 1, probably. And then St. George, absolutely. Absolutely 1. Maybe 2. Probably not because, again, they might not have treasures. They might not have any. They might have 4 or 5 in their deck, but they don't come up or you don't really care. But I'd run 1 in the starter deck. I'd put 1. Armor is an absolute must. I might run 4 because their strength modifiers are how they're going to win, and this is how you stop them and you win. But they're going to play armor too, and that's where the strategy comes in. So the basic game is fighting with dragons, using strength modifiers, and countering the strength modifiers with armor, and countering their dragon slayers. So you run 2 or 3 marinas, because you don't want them slaying your dragons. And they don't want you slaying their dragons. So this is where all the great strategy comes from. So now I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to show you what I've decided to go with. I'm going to make a 20-card Dragon Lair and a 50-card Treasure Hoard. Let's see, how many do I have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold on. All right, so there are 30 cards in my Dragon Lair currently, and 74 cards in my Treasure Hoard. So I've got a lot of cuts to make. So I'm going to build this deck now, and I'm going to show you what the final product is. And everything else will be sideboard. These are my sideboards too. I've got a ton of sideboard cards, but these are I'm less likely to use. These are the ones that I'm more interested in. Certain cards are niche. For instance, let me point something out here. If my opponent is running Dwarven armies and I'm not running Dwarven armies, I'm playing Fafnir, or I'm bringing Fafnir in game 2. Same with Pakwajak with Fire Breathing. If my opponent is running Fire Breathing and I'm not, I can side out all the Fire Breathing, bring Pakwajak in. If he's playing a bunch of Fire Breathing, Pakwajak's a good card now. I've negated his Fire Breathing, or I'm negating his Dwarven armies. I can side out my Dwarven armies, bring in Fafnir. These are 2-strength dragons, but they only cost 2 gold, so that's a good rate. They don't fly, but that ability can hinder your opponent. These are good cards to bring in the side. I just wanted to mention that. I don't think there's anything else. Let me look if there's any other cards I wanted to point out for sideboarding. All right, yeah, just a few. Frost Breathing, you don't play this card. But no Fire Breathing can be played during this battle. So if in game 1 my opponent is playing multiple Fire Breathing cards, I might bring this in. I might side out my Fire Breathing cards, assuming if I'm playing Fire Breathing. So that's a possible. Gold Thief is not bad card. It's certainly not bad to steal a gold from your opponent. It's just not very good. In my revised game, my rules, we added this, that you also take 1 gold from the gold mine. So now you get 2. Your opponent loses 1, you get 2. So I probably should consider this. So I'm going to for now drop it in here. I don't think it's going to make the deck, but if I'm really low on gold, that will come in, because that's going to get me 2 gold. So that's a good card. Zeus is probably only going to come in if my opponent is like attacking with a lot of scouts, and those scouts are taking out my terrains in game 1, and I'm like, man, I better play Zeus to stop him from doing it. This is not a very good card, but you never know. Maybe there's a time when you might bring it in. Heatwave is another card that's not very good. It is playable. It's okay, because if your opponent has a face-up dragon, now you've weakened it by 1 strength. If you don't, assuming you don't have one, and you don't care that your dragon is weak, this is an excellent way to slay those big dragons with Sir Lancelot. You weaken it, get it down to 3. So Heatwave can be an effective card. This terrain can be effective, but only it's not worth playing unless your opponent is getting help. And just because you see 1 card that gets them help, I still wouldn't necessarily bring this in. Now, if I see them playing at least 2 different cards that get them help, I would bring this in for game 2. So those are some sideboarding options. Poison Breathing is another one. The only good thing about Poison Breathing, I shouldn't say the only good thing, is it's permanent. I think this card should attach. It doesn't. It just says you lose -1 strength for the rest of the game. You have to lose the battle for that to happen. It's a weak card, but it can be effective, and out of the sideboard, it could be worth it. Flood, no Dwarven armies allowed in this battle. Same reason for Frost Breathing. Totally a sideboard card, and it's not all that good even as a sideboard card, but it could be brought in. You might want to bring it in under certain circumstances. Is it worth bringing in a scout that attacks 1 time at strength 1? Or if you have the treasure cauldron where you can keep turning it down, that extra 1 point of strength, if it was significant, I could consider bringing that in. All right, now I'm going to build the deck. All right, here is the deck that I've built. I've decided to go with just 20 cards and 50 cards. I could do higher. I can make this more if I wanted more cards in it, but I'm going to start with 2050, and I could put as many cards in here as I want. The deck plays better the less cards you have. You will draw better. You have better chance of drawing what you need the less cards you have in the deck. When you add cards, you statistically raise the chance of drawing the card you want. The chance of drawing it goes down, but it's very slight. If you run 51 versus 50, it's negligible. It won't matter. But if you were playing in a very serious tournament, you should only run 50, because that one extra card could be that one draw in that one game that makes the difference. So if it's a real serious tournament, go 20-50. It's a friendly tournament, yeah, I could go 25-60. It wouldn't matter. It's no big deal, because it won't make that much of a difference. And there are people who build 100-card decks and can play them. So not in Wyvern, but I'm sure people have. But anyway, I'm going with the 4 scouts because 4 is the right number in my opinion. So Keolung, Amphitheater, Mo-O, and Typhon. This way, I'm assuming my opponent is running at least 5 terrains. I'm going to assume that. I'm running 7, I think. I think I've got 7 here. All right, we're going to run Lindworm just because it's the nice stall tactic. I almost didn't run Ozzy, but I decided, you know what, let me run Ozzy. It was either Ozzy or Sea Crops. It came down to which one do I want, and I'm going to go with that because, again, I'm only paying 2 gold, and I have to be careful with your gold. You can run out of gold very quickly. I've also wasn't sure if I wanted to go with Kakutan, but because Kakutan attacks at 2 strength, that's not good, from face down. Okay, so he's a 3, but he defends at 4 from face down. So I'm going to put him in my front row and never use him. And to the point where my opponent's going to say, I bet that's a terrain. And he's going to attack it with a scout. And he's going to run into a 4 strength dragon that only cost me 3 gold. And after that, he's a 3. And that's fine. The 2 is never going to apply because I'm not going to attack with him from face down. Now, if I have to, yeah, then he gets me. I only get a 2 strength dragon. But a 4 strength dragon on defense for 3 gold is too good of a rate, especially because I don't have to attack. I can just sit there. So he makes my starting deck. Now, some good dragons did not make my deck, like Dragonel. I really want this in my starting deck, and maybe I should put him in and take something else out, but Tiamat's too good. 3 strength flyer for 3 is too good. I would take that over Ozzy Dahaka. I'd rather have the 3. In the constructed game, I'll take the 2 because the little dragons are better in constructed, actually. Ghani is so good, you have to play Ghani, in my opinion. He's just protecting treasures is very, very important. Wyvern is an absolute must. All of these dragons are absolute must. I don't even consider taking them out, just because they're big. That's the only reason. Now the problem, of course, that's a lot of gold draining, so I have to be careful. All right, I am going to go with because of my rule, I'm going with killer terrains. If we're playing the regular rule, I'm taking these out for the basic terrains. Okay, I would just replace them with the basic terrain. So 2 swamp holes, frozen lake. I might leave this in the deck and put it in the back row if it comes up, so that, but see, a 3 strength flyer might hit it, and then it just destroys it. So even then, I might not do it. But Cliff is just too good. That -2, yeah, I'm only getting 1 gold instead of 2, but -2 really hurts their dragons bad. -1 hurts them bad enough. And I'm going to play Moat. Again, I would not play this if we're doing the main rules. I would not start with this. I would only bring it in if I saw no flying dragons, or maybe I only saw 1 flying dragon and wasn't concerned about it, then I might bring in Moat. Because -2 and 2 gold is phenomenal. So worth it. And then just 1 of the basic terrains, river, because I wanted 7 terrains, 13 dragons. That's a good mix. That hopefully will keep my opponent off balance enough. I like 14-6, 13-7. I could easily switch that. I could take out the river and bring in Dragonelle. That might be worth it. What were the other ones I was looking at? Gargoyle is a really good dragon. Kokukan is a good dragon. Ryu is a good dragon. And Vitra is a good dragon. These are all worth it. So if I wanted to go up, I could take out 2 or 3 terrains and bring in more dragons in game 2, depending on what I feel about the deck that my opponent's playing. So I'm going with 6 treasures, I think. Gotta play Maiden in Distress, in my opinion. Pearl's just too good. The value is just too good. Anytime you can get card draw like Dragonelle, it's worth doing. If I don't play Pearl, I'd probably bring in Dragonelle. But since I have Pearl, so that's good. Magic Potion is just power. It is risky, but it's power. Secret Treasure can take over a game. Again, very, very risky. And then I'm going with 3 Fountains of Youth. I was going to go with 2. At the last moment, I said, no, I'm going to go with 3. All right, armor. How many am I running? 4. You are not going to beat me with your strength modifiers. Well, you still could, because he could be countering my strength modifiers. How many marinas? All 3. I got 3. I got to stop their Dragon Slayers. These are the great cards in the basic game. Play them. And these are so much fun to play. They're just great. All right. Going to play 1 St. George, 1 Cadmus, 2 Sir Lancelot, 2 Sigurd. I was almost going to go with 2 Beowulf, but then I'm like, no, he can take out the scouts. Better to have be able to take out 1 and 2 strength dragons too. The problem with Beowulf, while he is free, you could have a Beowulf in your hand and you got 1 or 2 strength dragons or 3 strength dragons and there's no 0 strength dragons there. At least Sigurd can take out the 1s and the 2s for 1 gold. Beowulf is still worth having because you're probably going to see scouts. And being able to slay their scout for free is great. All right. I'm going with 2 fireballs. I think I have 13 strength modifiers in this deck. I want to have that ability to really fight. But again, gold is going to be a problem. I have to be very, very careful. So we'll see if I can play this, and I will. I'll even put this on video if my friend will come over and we'll play, and he can make his starter deck, and we'll do this. 3 firebolts. It's a lot of money, but huge. 4 magical swords. That's just a given. I'm not taking magical sword out. 2 fire breathing, 2 dwarven armies. I might, like I said, with like those dragons, Fafnir and Paquajack, I might go to 4 of these or 4 of these, or take them all out. I don't know, and bring in, who knows. Knight, gonna go with 3. 3 knights to get out of these battles that I'm losing. The 1 help, I only had 1, so I'm going with that because that's a great card. Always play at least 1 help, in my opinion. I'm going to go with all 3. Well, I think I had 4 golden apples. I chose to just go with 3. Maybe I should run 4 golden apples because it's such a good card. It's such a good card. 1 possession spell. I always play 1. I thought about 2. I only have 1 meteor shower. I would play 2 if I had them. And the 1 volcanic eruption, you're only allowed, technically, the updated rules, you can only play 1. In the basic game, it doesn't matter. If you want to play 2 or 3, go for it. It's fine. It's up to you. It's your rules. It's your game. I'm going to play that 1 treasure thief because I might need it. And 3 Marduks to hopefully win me those battles very easily. 1 Tsunami just for the card draw. And if I'm losing battles, this will also give me a little bit of gold. I was going to bring in Gold Thief, but I'm like, nah, I'll just go with Sacrifice. Sacrifice, I steal 2 from my opponent. That is a must. I probably should run 2 of these. And I would, if I run out of gold in game 1, I am so going to bring in 1 more Sacrifice or 2 and the Gold Thief. Because I can't be running out of gold. If that happens... And what's the easiest way to run out of gold? When your opponent attacks your face-down dragons, and you got to pay for them. And if they're attacking with scouts, Well, whether they're attacking with scouts or not doesn't really matter. Your face down dragons, you got to swap them out when the big guys are there and you're running low on gold. Swap out your big guys, fight with your little guys, and hope for the best. But if you can get a big guy paid for, now you want to keep him alive, because that big guy is going to be really hard for them to take out. Like I said, the one game this one amazing match that I had at Gen Con with Celestial Dragon, he never killed it. I got it up turn 1 or turn 2 and took out all of his guys with Celestial, one after the other. He almost killed it twice, and I had the way to stop him. I ended up with 53 points for the game. You get 25 points for the win, 1 point for each battle position, and 1 point for each gold. I had 53 points. Beat him. I ended up losing the final 2 games in the tournament. It was at Gen Con. It was a basic tournament. I didn't make the finals because of that. I went 2-2. He went 3-1 and snuck into the Final Four. The Final Four get in, and he got in on some tiebreaker. I forget what it was. And the other guy who didn't make it was mad. And that guy that I beat went on to win the tournament. He had a really good deck. He just hit my Celestial, and my Celestial just gave him fits. And because of that, I almost made the tournament, because that gave me 53 points. But losing the final game made it impossible. There was no way I was going to make it. If I had won that final game, I would have been 3-1 and would have made the finals, because the guy I beat made the finals. All I had to do was beat that guy. And the funny thing about it was, I had just taught that guy how to play the game the day before. Can you believe that? That's crazy. He was a Magic player, and I hadn't played Magic, and I'm trying to teach him how to play Wyvern, and I barely knew how to play the game myself. I mean, I knew. I'd been playing for, 6 months or something like that. And he obviously knew how to play the games. He knew about card games, but he never played Wyvern. He almost made the finals. Not only did he beat me in the last game, but he was close. I think he ended up going 3-1. So pretty crazy. So that's how you build your starter deck, and then get into a tournament with your friends. And you got all these sideboards. If you're using 3 starter decks, you got all this as a sideboard, which is nuts. You're gonna go crazy. You kind of got to organize this to make it easier to use. Get rid of all the things that you're never gonna bring in, because you don't want to have to sort through this in between games. So just pull to the side the things that you might bring in, and put everything else, get rid of it, get it out of your way. It's not important. And then have fun in a tournament with your friends or family members. And Wyvern is just a phenomenal game for this environment. I cannot recommend it enough. Try it. Buy one of these, make the investment, $70-$80. I can buy this. 12 starter decks for 70 to 80 to 90 is more realistic. That's about what you'll pay on eBay. I can't recommend it enough. It's an excellent investment that will give you a lot of gaming fun, and you can put these decks back together in their setup. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just a blast to play. 4 players. If you have 6 people, then just take 2 starter decks. If you have 12 people, then everybody just gets 1 starter deck, and you get what you get. Sure, you're not going to have any sideboard. I would buy 2 of these if you had 12 people. I would absolutely buy 2 of those if you had 12 people and then you wanted to run your own tournament. I mean, everybody pitches in. It's not going to cost that much money. No big deal at all. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me your opinions. What would you have done differently? Feel free to offer any constructive criticism you want. Okay? You can say, hey, I would have absolutely played Dragonelle, and here's why, or you should have played Sea Crops, or whatever thing you think I should have put instead. Like, if you think I'm wrong, by all means, give me your constructive criticism. I'd love to sit and talk with people about Wyvern. I'd rather play, but I enjoy talking about this game. It's so much fun to play. All right, that's it. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.